Fear is contagious. It spreads quietly. From one soldier to another to an entire army. And on this day, fear had a name. Goliath. The valley of Elah lay silent beneath the rising sun. Two armies faced each other across the open ground, Israel on one hill, the Philistines on the other. Steel glinted. Shields were raised. But no one moved. Every morning, the same figure stepped forward. A giant. Over 9 feet tall. Bronze helmet. Bronze armor. A spear like a weaver's beam. His voice thundered across the valley. Choose a man to fight me. If he defeats me, we will be your servants. But if I defeat him, you will serve us. And every time he spoke, something broke inside the men of Israel. Not their weapons. Their courage. King Saul heard it. The generals heard it. The strongest warriors heard it. And they all reached the same conclusion: this battle cannot be won. For 40 days, Goliath mocked them. For 40 days, no one answered. Fear didn't shout. It settled. Then one day, a boy arrived. Not with armor. Not with a sword. But with bread and cheese. David, the youngest son of Jesse, was sent by his father to check on his brothers at the battlefield. He wasn't supposed to fight. He wasn't supposed to speak. He was supposed to deliver food and go home. But as David reached the camp, he heard something that stopped him cold. The giant's voice. The same taunts. The same threats. And David noticed something strange. Every time Goliath spoke, trained soldiers shrank back. Men who had trained for war were paralyzed by fear. David asked a simple question: who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? The soldiers stared at him. They didn't hear courage. They heard madness. Everyone else saw a giant too big to defeat. David saw a God too powerful to ignore. This was the difference. Fear magnifies the problem. Faith magnifies God. David wasn't blind to the danger. He just refused to make fear his authority. Word spread quickly. The shepherd boy is asking questions. Soon, David stood before King Saul. Saul looked at him, really looked. A boy. No armor. No battlefield experience. You cannot go against this Philistine, Saul said. You are only a youth, and he has been a warrior from his youth. But David didn't argue with confidence. He testified. I have fought lions. I have fought bears. And the same God who delivered me from them will deliver me from this Philistine. David wasn't claiming strength. He was claiming history with God. Saul tried to help. He placed his own armor on David. A king's armor. Heavy. Unfamiliar. David took a few steps. Then stopped. I cannot fight in this, he said. I am not used to it. And he took it off. This moment matters. Because God's battles are never won by pretending to be someone else. David didn't reject armor. He rejected identity confusion. He chose to fight as who he was. A shepherd. David walked down into the valley with nothing but a sling and 5 smooth stones. The army watched in silence. Goliath laughed. Am I a dog, the giant roared, that you come at me with sticks? He cursed David by his gods. He promised humiliation. Destruction. Death. David stopped walking. And then he spoke. You come to me with sword and spear, David said, but I come to you in the name of the Lord Almighty. This wasn't trash talk. This was theology. This day, David continued, the Lord will deliver you into my hands. And the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. David didn't just expect victory. He expected testimony. Goliath charged. The ground shook. The army of Israel held its breath. David ran toward the giant. Not away. Not sideways. Toward. He reached into his bag. Placed a stone in his sling. And swung. Once. Twice. Release. The stone struck Goliath's forehead. The giant stopped. Then collapsed. The sound echoed through the valley. Silence. Then something changed. Fear broke. The Philistine army panicked. The Israelites surged forward with a shout. The same men who were frozen yesterday ran boldly today. Not because David was strong, but because fear had lost its grip. One act of faith unlocked an army. Here's what most people miss about this story. David didn't just defeat Goliath. He defeated the lie Goliath represented. The lie that fear gets the final word. The lie that size determines outcome. The lie that God only works through the powerful. David shattered that lie. And when it fell, everything else followed. Your giants don't always wear armor. Sometimes they sound like doubt. Sometimes like rejection. Sometimes like anxiety that's been shouting for years. And just like Israel, fear may have convinced you, this will never change. But hear this, you don't need to be louder than your fear. You need to be faithful. The same God who met you in private victories is still present for public ones. David didn't wait for fear to disappear. He moved while it was still there. And in doing so, he reminded the world, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's obedience in spite of it. If this story reminded you who you are, share it with someone who's standing in their own valley. Because fear falls when faith moves forward.